What is the first thing that comes into your head when you think of a home? To me, the first thing that comes into my head when I think of a home is a place where I feel the most safest. But due to domestic violence, some people, a home is where they feel the most unsafe. Domestic violence is a violence within your domestic circle, making it more damaging to the victims who's experienced it. The three topics I'll be talking about today are one, domestic violence can be experienced by anyone. Two, it is both physically and mentally draining. And three, it is very financially harmful. One of the biggest reasons domestic violence is a prominent issue is because of how big of an impact it has on very different types of people. Domestic violence can affect everyone, and its abuse can come in many forms that are difficult to see or leave from, especially when it's caused by someone within your domestic circle. According to the Violence Prevention at CDC, about 1 in 4 women experience domestic violence during their lifetime. At least 1 in 7 children experience child abuse or neglect. And 1 in 10 men experience domestic violence during their lifetime. Domestic violence also has a strong effect because it is an issue that may be difficult for victims to speak out loud or identify themselves. In a blog provided by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, it is written by a domestic violence victim named Makisha Jane Walker. She explains the factors that made it difficult for her to leave her husband. Those factors include a fear for her children and the guilt that may come from speaking about her experience. She explains that because abuse came from someone who is close to her, it was harder for her to come to conclusion even when she was being hurt. As we can see, domestic violence can affect anyone, and with that, it can take damaging effect mentally and physically. Domestic violence detrimentally affects the victim's mental and physical stability. Domestic violence includes physical and emotional abuse, which can lead to victims to experience severe physical and mental harm. According to the article called Effects on Domestic Violence, it names the common physical effects of domestic violence, which include bruises, changes in eating, sleeping patterns, shortness of breath, involuntary shaking, and red and purple marks on the neck. The common mental effects of domestic violence are PTSD, depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem. Effects that are specific to children who witness or experience domestic violence include anxiety, depression, academic problems, and constant fearing. The physical and mental pain victims go through from domestic violence can also harm them financially and harm us as a country economically. Domestic violence's physical and emotional toll on victims can also lead to a financial toll. Domestic violence is damaging economically. Domestic violence can be harmful economically because regarding health-related treatment, therapy, and health-related injuries, pro-productivity from paid work, and criminal justice. And its lifetime cost was $3.6 trillion. And according to the Violence Prevention at CDC, in 2018, the children maltreatment cost from domestic violence was approximately $592 billion. Domestic violence harms multiple different aspects of a person's life. As I talked about today, the 3 main points, domestic violence can be experienced by anyone. It is physically and mentally and financially harmful. Domestic violence is an issue significantly prevalent today, but through the spread of awareness and assistance, we can effectively curb domestic violence and abuse. The reason domestic violence is prevalent today is because the lack of knowledge and silence. So why should we care? It is because domestic violence can affect everyone. We should be aware that ourselves, family, friends, coworkers, and peers can experience some sort of abuse. It can affect our community, so helping to spread awareness about domestic violence issues is one way we can all effectively address this issue. And knowing its effect can also help more people understand ways we can support those who are affected by domestic violence. Thank you.